Have you ever scrolled through your feed and thought, how could the world be so wrong? How could so many people on social media think like this? Or maybe you've whispered under your breath, how are they so wrong and so confident about it? And if you're really honest, you've probably had moments where you thought, is it them or is something happening to all of us? Because people seem so divided and so hateful, sometimes it just gets kind of crazy. Let me reach right through the screen and tell you something you've probably felt but maybe never put words to. The online world isn't just divided, it's distorted. Your feed is not reality. Your trending topics are probably not always truth. Your online conversations are not neutral. Because you're living in a digital world designed to show you not just what's true, but what's comfortable, what you like, what you'll watch, what you'll click, what you'll give a thumbs up to. And today, I want to talk to you directly as a Christian leader, a pastor, a teacher, an entrepreneur, a business owner, a parent, disciple maker. Because if you get trapped in an echo chamber, which social media often does, your influence gets diluted, your discernment gets clouded, and your worldview becomes artificially small. But if you can break free, even in this loud, chaotic world, if you can break out of the echo chamber, if you can discern fact from fiction, if you can rebuild a worldview based on scripture instead of algorithms, then you can become a beacon of clarity in a very confused culture. Today isn't just about diagnosing a problem, it's about equipping you with tools, biblical tools, psychological tools, practical tools, so that you can see clearly again. Let's dive in, talking about the algorithm echo chamber and how in the world can we break out of it. So where do we go from here? And we got here because your feed is a funnel, not a window. You think you're seeing the world through your screen, but you're not. You're seeing the world through a lens, a curated, filtered, personalized river of information designed to keep you scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Algorithms used to be pretty simple. If you like this, we'll show you more of that exact thing. If you like cat videos, we'll show you more cat videos. But now they're scary smart, especially combined with AI. They predict what makes you mad, what makes you click, what makes you feel outraged, what makes you feel thrilled, what makes you happy, what makes you stay longer, what keeps your thumb moving. And to do that, social media studies a lot about us, right? Our browsing habits, our watch time, our friends, the location, where we live, our beliefs, our comments, our hesitations, our pauses. Supposedly, they can even study your facial expressions on video apps. Wow, that's crazy, right? The platforms don't just want what's true, they want what's engaging. And the most engaging thing is not usually truth, it's oftentimes emotion. Emotion is really engaging. Outrage, identity, tribalism. So oftentimes you're not being informed, you're being shaped. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. But the digital world is trying to guard it for you. And that's really dangerous, isn't it? We don't want social media guarding our hearts. What are some of the unintended consequences of relevance? I think algorithms were originally designed to help, but now they can create a hidden prison. The more you click on one viewpoint, the more you're fed that exact same viewpoint until you believe it's the only viewpoint. You think, wow, everyone agrees with me. How could anyone else be so stupid as to not agree with this? Because everything you're seeing is feeding that same view. It's so easy to think everyone agrees with me, but these other people think everyone agrees with me, and you end up with two groups of people absolutely convinced that they're seeing clearly when in reality, they're seeing through two totally different digital worlds. Isaiah 5:20 warned of this, woe to those who call good evil and evil good and put darkness for light and light for darkness. We seem to be living in a world like that. We have this feedback loop. The more you react to something emotionally, the more the system feeds you a continuing stream of it. That reinforces your biases. It strengthens your assumptions. It narrows your worldview without your consent, right? It's the algorithmic version of Paul's warning in 2 Timothy 4:3. People will gather around them teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. Except now, you don't gather them, the algorithm gathers them for you. You're not intentionally building an echo chamber, you're being placed inside of one. But that's only half the story. What's the other half? Okay. The psychology of confirmation bias, right? We have echoes of ourselves. Your brain loves agreement. If we go internally, even without the algorithms, Our brains love familiar ideas. We love familiar theology that we're used to. We love familiar politics that we grew up with. We like familiar narratives. We like familiar tribes. We like people that look like us and think like us and act like us. Psychologists call it confirmation bias. Your tendency to seek information that proves what you already believe, right? We all have a tendency like that. When you see something you agree with, your brain releases dopamine. That means agreement literally feels good. It feels good to watch a YouTube video that you strongly agree with. And on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, LinkedIn, wherever you like to do your social media, Twitter/X, disagreement literally feels threatening. So online, you naturally drift towards communities that validate you, that reinforce you, that mirror you, that comfort you. But comfort doesn't grow you. God often grows us through discomfort. That's why scripture says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 12:2, not the confirming of your mind. So there can be a backfire effect, right? That's the crazy part. When someone confronts you with facts that challenge your belief, your brain often responds by believing your original ideas even more strongly and thinking that person is crazy or evil. It's called the backfire effect. This is why arguing online is usually pointless. Proverbs 18:2, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. Online debates rarely change minds. They often just harden and solidify positions. If you've been involved in any kind of online debate, you've probably seen that. We have within us this really strong desire to belong. That's the emotional side. God designed you for community. I just did a video on that. So when you find an online group of people who think like you, it feels like belonging. It feels so encouraging. But those communities, Christian groups, political groups, hobby groups, parenting groups, can easily become echo chambers that, if we're not careful, reject all the outsiders, shame anyone that dissents, attack disagreements, punish nuance, reward conformity. So if you believe exactly like the leader of that community, you get rewarded, but everyone else gets punished. In other words, they offer belonging at the cost of truth. Biblical communities shouldn't work like that. Proverbs 27:8, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Real community includes friction, correction, challenge, growth, iron sharpening iron. But online communities often feel more like velvet, like soft, comforting, ultimately incredibly, incredibly shallow. What are the real world consequences? Well, number one, political polarization. Echo chambers aren't just digital, they're shaping nations. People aren't just disagreeing, they don't even agree on what reality is. Like we're worlds apart. Each side sees the other side as dangerous, as untrustworthy, even as evil. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers," Matthew 5:9. But how can you make peace if you can't even see the same world? It's like you're looking through totally different lenses. You can't bridge a divide that you're not even willing to acknowledge. And this has become a serious issue. And I'm saying this from the United States, but you might be watching in other countries. I think this is a worldwide issue, not just a United States issue. From health crises to social issues to theological debates, echo chambers create a world where oftentimes facts are flexible, experts are distrusted, conspiracies feel believable, fear overrides wisdom, charisma beats out truth. When we lose our discernment, we become spiritually and intellectually vulnerable. Hosea talks about, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, Hosea 4:6. Not lack of sincerity, not lack of passion, but lack of knowledge. And another thing that happens is oftentimes personal relationships suffer, right? Echo chambers shrink your empathy. You stop seeing people as image bearers and you start seeing them as categories. Oh, they're one of those. They're brainwashed. They're dangerous. But Jesus never reduced people to labels. He saw the person, the Samaritan woman, the tax collector, the Roman centurion, the Pharisee who came at night. Echo chambers shrink your compassion. The gospel expands it. So let's get intensely practical now. How do you handle this? Well, number one, diversify your information diet. Intentionally seek out different viewpoints, different news sources, different theological perspectives, different cultures. You need to, again, it's not that you're going to agree with every theological perspective, but read broadly, for instance. Not to agree what everyone else agrees with, but to at least understand them. Proverbs 18:17 says, the first to present his case seems right until another comes and examines him. You need that other voice. A second thing to do is to fact check ruthlessly. Before sharing something online, ask, is this verified? What's the source? Who benefits from believing this? That's a key question, right? What emotions is this triggering? Is this consistent with Scripture? Ask those questions before you just share something online as if it's gospel truth. Use credible fact-checking tools, learn to spot logical fallacies, beware of sensational headlines. Remember Proverbs 14:15, the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. Wise people think things through before they just spread the gossip. Third, engage respectfully. Disagreement does not require disrespect. When you disagree online, ask questions instead of attacking. Seek clarity instead of victory. Respond slowly rather than emotionally. Assume the best, not the worst. Focus on principles, not personalities. Christ-like engagement really stands out as so different from the majority of probably what's going on online today. So, how can we build bridges in our online world? Well, we can advocate for ethical algorithms. Platforms need accountability. Leaders like you can support transparency, promote technology ethics, push for healthier design, encourage long-term thinking. We need digital ecosystems that reward truth, not outrage. But to some degree, we might say, well, I probably don't have much control over that. I'm not on the board of a tech company, let's say. We can invest in media literacy. Teach your kids, teach your church, teach your students, teach your team at work. Help them learn how to evaluate sources, how to spot manipulation, how to identify bias, how to think critically, and how to trace a claim back to its origin. Biblical wisdom and digital literacy should go hand in hand. So imagine if online spaces encouraged curiosity, rewarded nuance, elevated truth, honored Scripture, built empathy with others, built discipleship, united instead of divided. Imagine if Christian leaders like you could model a better way for others, a way of truth, a way of humility, a way of discernment, a way of love. Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That's John 8:32. You can't be free inside an echo chamber. You're just hearing back your own thoughts, and everybody's agreeing with you. But you can break out of that echo chamber. And when you do, you won't just see the world more clearly, you'll hopefully lead the world more wisely. You'll be able to love more deeply, and you'll be able to speak truthfully, reflecting Christ as we're called to. We're called to rise above the noise and carry the truth of the gospel into a confused world. And the world desperately needs the clarity that God has given to you through Scripture. So step out of the echo chamber, go speak to a world that desperately needs to hear the truth. Thanks for your time in watching this. I hope you found it to be helpful. And if you want, you can like it or subscribe or share it with someone else. But thanks so much for your time. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day, rejoicing in Jesus.